once in a while we talk about masturbation on the show, and it's usually in the context of a bigger news story, right? And every once in a while someone will come to us and say, hey, did you know that doctors actually used to masturbate women for hysteria? They wouldn't feel good, so they'd go to the doctor, and then the doctor would literally diddle them, and then they would feel better. But that was the reason why vibrators came about. So many women were getting treated for hysteria that doctors became tired of manually stimulating them in that way. So they had to come up with certain gadgets to help them out. Now, just a really quick rumor. There is no real evidence indicating that this is true, but I still find it really fascinating. There is some indication that Cleopatra used angry bees in a hollow gourd as the first vibrator. I don't know where that rumor comes from, but it's fun, and I like it. Yeah,
like a gourd, like a gourd. What else? They're like melons or whatever.
Yeah.
Right? So they're kind of big, like a huge penis shape, right? And then she would put bees in it, and then put it against her Yahoo, and then that was.
And then it would work as a vibrator. I don't know how accurate that is, but what I do know is that vibrators have been around since like the late 1700s. Okay, and so. The very first vibrator was powered by steam, which is fascinating. Here's the information. The prevailing method of powering machines in the late 19th century was by using steam. An American doctor named George Taylor used it to make the first steam-powered vibrator in 1869. So before that, I guess I said late 1700s, but before that there were other gadgets, but they weren't really considered vibrators. It wasn't until steam-powered vibrators came about that the doctors started utilizing them and helping women with their so-called hysteria. And by the way, the reason why they called it hysteria is because back in the day, they thought that women were not sexual in any way, shape, or form. They thought that women didn't become horny. So of course, there was all this pent-up sexual frustration among women, and they were frustrated, and they didn't know why they were feeling this way. And they'd go to doctors, and doctors like, this is non-sexual. We're just going to diddle you, and you're going to feel better. Yes. It's amazing.
Yes,
it's amazing.
That was a real thing.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy that you'd go? I mean, I'm sure, boy, the medical school enrollment must have went way up for guys back then. But women come there, hey, could you help me get off? Yes, come on in, I'll help you. It's crazy. And yes, they called it hysteria. Where the term hysterical comes from, right? Which is kind of, if you think about it, it's a little bit sexist, right? And doctors gave the hand jobs. The first ones were first vibrators hand cranked, which I like that term.
There we go. That's what I was referring to. So in the late 1700s, that's when they had the hand cranked,
like
vibrators.
Like that is like hilarious.
You got to do what you got to do sometimes.
Yeah, like you're mixing eggs to make a cake or something. That's funny.
It's amazing. And look, it was considered a serious medical issue that you needed treatment for. It's like, hey, you need this gadget. You're suffering from hysteria. And I love that the doctors had so many clients in any given day that their hands literally got tired. They're like, we need something to help us out. Now, Dr. Joseph Granville patented the first electromechanical vibrator in 1880, which again is so fascinating to me because 1880, you don't think of people buying vibrators at that time.
Or or even having electricity. I didn't know that. 1880? So we got electricity. All right, let's do something that gets us off. We got to invent something quick, right? It's the first thing they go to. We got electricity. Can we get something that helps us beat off? Do you have anything for that? It's 1880. We still don't have the car. We just invented the wheel last week. Can we get something to help us beat off?
It's amazing. It really is. So Hamilton Beach, a company, made the first straight-up electricity-powered vibrator in 1902. So the really fascinating part about that isn't because, hey, it was the first electricity-powered vibrator. It was because at that time, the only domestic devices to precede it were the sewing machine, fan, tea kettle, and toaster.
So the fifth thing invented ever electrically, right, for use was the vibrator. It's like, hey, listen, we got clothes, we have a sewing machine, so we got clothes, we got a fan, so we'll be cool, we have tea, so we have something to drink, and a toaster, so we have something to eat. What next? How about something to help me jizz? Do you have anything? I got it all covered. I got drink, eats, I got clothes, I need jizz now. Let's go.
Look, we need the essentials of life, okay? We need the essentials. And it wasn't until 1968 that the very first cordless vibrator came about. So we kind of came full circle. And now, we've developed many different gadgets with many different features to please women in that department. So that's kind of cool. The Hitachi Magic Wand is probably the vibrator that kind of revolutionized everything.
Because it looks like a vibrator for your muscles, not necessarily your genitalia, right?
So I didn't know that. I always thought it was a massager, like a real massager.
Yeah.
Because you go into like Brookstone or something, and it's freaking like I don't know. That just seems excessive.
Yeah.
Right.
It seems excessive to me. You would think.
Right.
But
some people are into it.
The Hitachi Magic Wand.
And they decided to do a rebrand by getting rid of the Hitachi part, and they just call it the Magic Wand. And the company is a little frustrated that that's really the only thing that they sell. That's like the biggest selling product within their company. That's the most popular product, but probably because it's like the cheapest. It's a vibrator.
Yeah. And you can pretend that you're buying it because you had a crick in your neck, right?
That's
like,
true.
Oh.
That's another thing. It could be discreet by claiming that you're using it as a body massager as opposed to a vibrator.
Now, let me ask you a question.
Don't.
My wife does not own a vibrator. And what would you say the percentage of your friends are? Do you know? You guys talk about it? I asked my wife. She goes, "We don't talk about it." I'm like, well, maybe you're repressed. But what about you?
You and your wife don't talk about it?
No, she doesn't talk about it with her friends.
Oh, are you kidding me?
I'm not kidding.
No, we talk about that kind of stuff all the time.
So what would you say the percentage?
This is where my mom should stop watching.
Yes, please stop watching Anna's mom.
Yes.
So what percentage of people would you say?
It's
friends?
up there. Of my friends, I would say
70%, 7 out of 10?
No, I would say like 90 to 100%.
100, almost 100?
And the girls that say that they don't have one are lying.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Just like the guys who say they don't jerk off. There's just two kinds of guys.
Yeah.
Guys who jerk off, guys who lie and say they don't jerk off. Right?
Exactly.
So there's that.
Same thing with women. Yes.
Really?
Well, at least the women in my circle of friends. I mean, I don't think that that's a representative sample.
And how did they? And so, do they buy online? Do they go into the porno store to get it? Do they do that? Because where else would you get them? They don't sell them at Victoria's Secret, right?
They don't. Although, interestingly enough, companies like Trojan have started selling little vibrators. So when you go to buy condoms, you get like those little finger massagers.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, it's like a little thing you put on your finger and
oh, really?
Yeah.
No kidding.
It's really fascinating. Like that market has expanded. And I remember doing a story about Trojan because they're actually able to advertise that product, but they're not allowed to call it a vibrator. They call it something else in order to
massager.
Thank you, to get past any type of FCC regulation. Yes.
That is hilarious. So they're selling a sex toy, but they're pretending it's not. This is to keep your finger warm. The finger warmer.
Yes, exactly. Finger warmer / massager. Yes.
So we think of a woman having a vibrator as the most normal thing in the world. It's a natural part of sexuality, but I still think it's going away. But there's still a stigma attached to men using vibrators, right? And my joke is,
the fleshlight.
Yeah. So why is it if you go to my house and you find a pocket pussy, all of a sudden I can't be alone with children?
Yes.
Right? And it's like, oh, this guy's a weirdo. He's got a fake vagina in his dresser. Yeah. But if you guys, you can have cocks all over the place and nobody gives a. You know what I'm saying, right?
Yes, I do know what you're saying.
So is that still? Do you feel that way? Like, what if you found one in your boyfriend's drawer? How would you feel about it?
I feel as though I'm insanely open-minded when it comes to that kind of stuff. So my perception is very skewed because if I had found something like that, I'd be like, oh, so that's what you like to use, right? I wouldn't be turned off by it. I got to be honest with you.
Oh, good.
But
really?
I do acknowledge that, yes, there are definitely a lot of women that would be turned off by it. There are a lot of women who don't like their boyfriends or husbands going to strip clubs. Don't give a shit about a strip club. Do I think my boyfriend's going to leave me for a stripper? I mean, if he does, then good riddance, right? I don't care about my boyfriend watching pornography. Who cares? It's pornography. He's not cheating on me with some freaking porn actress. But a lot of women are uncomfortable with it. So it all depends on how open you are with your sexuality, how open you are with your partner. And if I'm in a relationship, I would much rather have us be as open as possible about what our preferences are, what we like to use, what we like to watch, how we like to do it, because that's the only way it's going to be fun. Right?
I like to not to talk about it and make it dirty, and so, we're not really sure what we're doing. Do you like it? I don't want to ask. Anyway, no. Yes, sex is a crazy thing. It actually is. Like, there has to be mystery.
Yes.
If you're too open, it kind of takes some of the fun out of it. The fact that I grew up Catholic, so it made it better because it was dirty, and the girls were even more fun because they were dirtier. In a sense. I just read a thing online today about a woman who was a virgin until she was married, and it was a big deal because she was Christian and all that. And she talked about it was the worst thing that ever happened to her, right? Worst thing ever. It ruined her sex life and her marriage. It was her after she got married and had sex, it ruined her identity. identity, because her identity was that she was a virgin.
That she was pure.
And now she's tarnished and all that stuff. So I don't know how we got off on that, but I love vibrators.
You do love vibrators, so you are open to it.
Oh yeah, no doubt. Not for me, but for like my wife. Like I never, like I would telling you off air, like I'm thinking about, oh, my wife doesn't have a vibrator. She never used one. Maybe I should surprise her.
Well, how would you feel if she did have a vibrator or a series of vibrators, but she never told you about it?
I would feel, I don't know. I guess let's imagine. Wow, why didn't you fucking tell me? Who cares? That you could have brought it. It's fun. What do you think? I'm going to shame you for liking sex? Right. I get off. I mean, men get off. Anything women do sex, I like. You want to touch yourself? That's great. You want to rub yourself against a broom? Can I watch? Whatever you do, I'm there for it. Guys are all in.
I love it.
Right. So yeah, that's what I would say to her. Like, why are you ashamed of? You don't have to be ashamed of your sexuality in front of me.
I think that there are definitely people, though, men specifically, that don't like the idea of their significant other masturbating or using toys. So, but look, we're in a liberal bubble where we're okay with it.
Again, the talking, being honest and open to a point. I don't need to know if you have a hemorrhoid. I don't want to know that, right? That happened once. Don't need to know. You can keep that stuff in, right? I won't go anal. Just say I don't want to do anal. You don't have to tell me I have a fucking hemorrhoid. I don't need that. I'm going to be extra hard keeping it up tonight. Thank you very much. Thinking about your fucking blood-pussing hemorrhoid.
Okay. Oh my God. All right, well, I hope you guys enjoyed this very substantive discussion about vibrators and the history of vibrators.
How do you feel about vibrators? Let us know right down below. If you know what I'm saying.
Oh my God.
Shit writes itself.